Okay, so we have started print statement in Python, right? And we have covered 5 usages of print statement. First one is the simple usage of print function, then printing multiple values in the same line using plus symbol and using comma symbol, then print using format function, then we have also seen print using ampersand symbol, and then we have wrapped our yesterday session with f string, print using f string. Now we will be seeing print using SCP and END keywords. Okay. So SCP stands for separator, and END basically stands for ending. Now there are some quick, rules about it. So I have told you, right? So print is a function, and this function can accept how many arguments. It can either accept 0 argument, 1 argument, or more than 1 argument, right? Now with SCP keyword, if if the print function has 0 or 1 argument, so in this case SCP can be applied. There will not be any error when you will be applying SCP keyword, but no change will happen. I'll come to the coding part. I'm just writing some rules here first. And for greater than 1, SCP is applied and changes will happen. Okay, so let's see what are SCP first. Let me go to my PyCharm and okay. Now let's say I have a print statement, print, and then I am printing two values, 2 and 3. Now 2 and 3 will be printed here as I told you yesterday, right? So right now you can see 2 and 3 will be printed and there will be a space between them, because whenever you are separating the arguments within the print function, it is basically separated out with a space. So when I run this program, you can see there is a space, right? Now, in order to use SCP keyword, I'll write down SCP, which is a separator. Now, I can give anything inside this separator. Let's say I am giving hash. So when I give hash and when I run this program, so it is printing 2 hash 3, which means these are the 2 arguments, and these 2 arguments will be separated by whatever I am giving inside the SCP keyword. By default, when I don't give anything, it is separated by a space. So if I'll write down like this, so it will be 2 and 3. I mean, this is same as this particular thing. So separator is basically used to separate the 2 arguments that you are giving within the print statement. Now, the rule which says about SCP keyword is, let me open this slide. Okay. Now the rule says that when we have 0 and 1 argument, SCP can be applied, but there will not be change. And SCP is always applied when we have more than 1 argument, right? So let's see with 0 argument, how does it work? Let's say if I have 0 argument, Okay, zero, let's forget about zero argument for now. Just take one argument for now. So I have given one argument and I have given hash symbol here, separator as hash. So when I run this program, see, you will be able to apply SEP keyword, but no change is happening in the output, right? So with 0 and 1 argument, when you apply SEP, nothing happens, nothing happens. And it happens, I mean, the change will happen when you have more than one argument, then SEP will be applied. Okay. So this is about SEP. Now, next thing is, okay, again, one more thing I want to add here. So let's say I'll take few more parameters, few more arguments here. Let's say 2, comma 3, comma Python. So these argument can be of any data type, right? So true, and let me take one tuple also. And then I'm giving SEP. Now, these values will be printed, and each of these values, instead of space, it will be separated by a hash symbol. So when I'll run this, see, everything is printed and each of these arguments are separated by the symbol that I have given in SEP. So instead of hash, I can give anything. Let's say if I'm giving O, 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 three times. If I'm running it, so every time it is printing the argument, it will add this separator symbol, whatever separator text that I'm giving. Now, coming to the end operator, end keyword. Now, if we talk about end keyword, so end keyword, when I'm talking about end keyword, so it is basically, it can be applied when print has 0, 1, and more than one argument. I mean, it can be applied to any number of arguments. So what does AND say? Let's say I am printing this, printing 2, and I'm giving and I'm giving hash. So what will happen? It will basically run this program, it will print 2, and at the end it will put this hash. So this is with one argument. If I am taking, let's say, two arguments or three arguments, and if I'm running this program, so it will print 2, 3, 4, and at the end it will put the hash symbol. So that is why AND can be applied with more than and can be applied with zero arguments, one arguments, or more than one arguments within the print statement. Now talking about the default value. So let's say I'm just printing here 2, and on next line I am printing 3. And when I'm running this program, you can see if it prints 2, and after 2, it is basically including a new line, right? That is why 3 is getting printed on the new line like this. So I can say that print 2 is equivalent to print 2, and at the end, under end, I am giving uh, like this. Now, if I'll run this program, again, it is same thing. So the default value, if I'm talking about default values. So for SCP, the default value is space, and for AND, default value is a new line, right? So SCP and AND I can use together also. How can I use? So let's say in this first line, I'm giving print 2, comma 3, and separator SCP I am giving as @ symbol, and END I am giving as hash symbol. Now what happens is that when I run the program, it is printing 2, then it is adding one @ here, and then 3. So 2 and 3 are separated by @ which I am giving in the SCP keyword, and then after 3 it is basically adding an extra hash symbol here. Now, instead of this printing this 3 in the new line, it is printing in the same line, because when I'm not giving anything in the end part, it by default takes a new line. But as soon as I gave something in end part and keyword, it will take that, and the next thing it will not print in the new line, because now I have overridden the end, end keyword. So instead of new line, my overridden end keyword is hash symbol. That is why 3 is printed in the same line. So it's a tricky thing uh, uh, about the end keyword, SCP and end keyword. So yeah, so this is about SCP and end keyword. Now next thing is uh, printing new line and printing in same line, right? Print in new line and same line. Okay. So let's say I'm doing print 2, right? And I am giving print /n here and print 3 here. So if I run this program, what can be the output? See, when I'm running this program, you can see it is printing 2 and then it is adding 2 blank line. Any idea why it is adding 2 blank lines? See,
Yeah, because there are like by default it considers \n
so
whenever a command is entered.
so the equivalent of this print statement at line number 3, it is same as, let me write down in the below lines. So print 2 that I have written above is same as print 2 end /n, right? Because the default value of any print statement, default end value is new line. Now line number 4 is equivalent to print and end equal to like this, correct? And equivalent of line number 5 is print 3 and is. So if you look closely, these 3 lines are equivalent to these 3 lines. And here, so you have to, pay your focus here on this particular thing, 7, 8, and 9 lines. So what is happening at 7 line? It is printing 2, and then it is introducing new line. So the next print will start from new line. Next print statement is a new line. So I am adding one new line here, right? And after from here, when I have added new line, it is coming here, right? And then again, it is ending with a new line. So when I am ending it with a new line, my statement, I mean the control comes here. And when my control is here at this point, I am printing 3. So that is the reason we can see 2 new lines are getting introduced between 2 and 3. But what if you want to, let's say, introduce just one line? Okay, before that, let me run this program to show you, right? See again, I mean, it is same, right? It is introducing 2 new line. So this and this both are same. Why it is introducing 2 new line? Just remember that. Just try to, uh, add the end keyword with the default value, and then you will be able to get the answer. Now, in order to just print just a new line, if you want to add between 2 statements, so how you can add that? So I don't have to use backward/print in backward /n in print statement. I will just use print statement with 0 argument. So whenever I will use print statement with 0 argument, it introduces a new line. Okay. So when I was talking about print function having zero argument, one argument, and more than one argument. So when I was talking about argument, so this is the case where we are using zero argument. So when I'll run this program now, so between 2 and 3, only one new line will be there. See, only one new line is there. So that is how you use print statement with zero argument. Or if you want to introduce just a single new line between two print statements. So this is how you do that. Okay. Coming to the next part. So here we will see how to print using single quote, double quote, and triple quotes. So print statement, first of all, let's say if I'm doing printing and I'm writing hello world. So this hello world I can write in a single quote as well as double quote. So when I'm running, it is printing hello world. If I'm putting double quote here, it will work without any issue. So you can use single quote or double quote. Anything is fine. But if you are using, okay, and let's say if you are using double quote, then inside double quote, you can use a single quote and vice versa also. But if you are using double quote inside this string, you cannot use double quote. In order to use double quote, you have to use a backspace. I mean, escape sequence, we used to call it. So if you use escape sequence and then using double quote, that's fine. It will work now. And similarly, if you are using single quote, so inside single quote, you can use double quote. That's not an issue. But if you want to use single quote inside a single quote, it will throw error unless you use escape sequence like this. So this is about single and double quote. Now we have something known as triple quote, right? So triple quote, you can define triple quote using three single quotes. I mean some string enclosed in three single quotes, or a string enclosed in three double quotes. So this is how you define your triple quotes. For example, let's say I define my single quote print statement using three single quote like this. So this is Python. I am writing, right? If I run it, it will run as usual. This is Python. Now the benefit of using this particular thing is that you can use double quote also inside it and single quote inside it without providing the escape sequence. So if you are running this, you will be able to use double quotes and single quotes inside this triple quote without any issue. And basically the triple quotes are used to define multi-line string. So multi-line string means you can define multi-line string whenever, let's say, if you are defining any variable. So this is a multi-line string, something like this you can give, and inside print statement, if you'll give a, so it will print this multi-line string. If you are running it, it is printing this is a multi-line string. So that's the benefit of using triple quotes. Okay. Now, yeah, so this is about printing using triple quotes, single quotes, and double quote. Next thing is print using asterisk or this symbol. Now let's say I have print statement and I'm writing hello, and if I'm writing into 3, so what will happen? Hello will be printed 3 times. Hello, hello, hello. Like this. Hello, hello, hello. Right? Similarly, anything which I am giving inside, I mean, in the print statement, let's say if I am giving tuple 1, 2, 3. and I'm printing this, it will print this tuple 3 times. I mean, it will repeat these elements 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 inside the tuple. Okay. Now, uh, what will be the output of this? Can anyone tell? So just don't get confused. It is simple multiplication. It will print 6. It will not print 2, 2, 2. Okay, it is printing 6. So just remember that, right? So basically, it works on, sequences, string, numerical data types. It is multiplication. And for Boolean data types also, let's see what happens on Boolean data types. Let's say if I'm giving true here and asterisk 3, what is happening? So true, any number in Python is considered as uh, uh, basically true is considered as 1. So that's why it is printing 1 into 3 and the output is 3. So it repeats the sequence and string, and for numerical data type, it just multiplies it, right? Now let's see what happens when we try to use this on set. So set ko when I'll do it, it is throwing error, type error. Why it is throwing error? Because set basically contains unique elements, right? So when I'm saying it to repeat it 1, comma 2, comma 3, 3 times, it will not repeat it. It will say unsupported operand because you cannot repeat the values of set. Set contains unique element, and that's why you cannot use this on set and dictionary. And similarly, you cannot use it on none data type. Let's say if you are giving none here and then printing, it will again give the type error. Okay. So this is about the multiplication, I mean the print using asterisk symbol. Now, what is the usage? What is the practical use of this? Let's say the practical use is you want to capture some logs and you are printing, let's say before doing any operation, you want to draw a line basically. So let's say I'm drawing a line and with underscore, and then I will use multiply, I mean this asterisk symbol, and let's say 20 I am giving. And then I am writing some print statement, execution starts, and then I'm printing execution ends, and then after execution end, I will print this again, right? So instead of manually printing, lot many underscores, I'll just use asterisk 20 so that it will draw a line with a uniform number of underscores. So if I'll run this program, you can see this, right? So this is used for formatting your output or formatting your logs that you are using within your program. So this is the practical usage of printing using the asterisk symbol. Okay. Uh, so with this, we are done with the print statement in Python. So this is about print statement in Python. Now, next thing is user input. User input. Okay. So user input means how can we take input from the user in Python. So user input, we basically use input function to take user input in Python. And input function always returns string value. And again, a program basically when a program do not have any input function, it is called as def program. Def program when we don't have input function. Okay. And talking about the arguments, uh, so input function can have can accept zero argument, it can accept one argument, but it cannot accept more than one arguments. Okay, let's see first how we are using input function in our Python program. Let's say uh, I want to input something from user. So I'm using in s equal to input. I'm just giving this input function with zero argument. And when I will print this value, print s, and I'm running it, what is happening when I'm running it? So see the cursor is blinking. That means I have to input some value. Let's say I'm inputting 20. And as soon as I enter 20, it will take that value 20 inside S, and on the next line it is printing the value 20 that I have inputted. Now the thing is that when we are giving zero argument and when we are running the program, we are not sure. I mean, the system does not know, or the user does not know what exactly needs to be done, right? A user may get confused when we are running program where input do not have any argument. So in order to give some informational message to user, we provide some text inside it. So text means, let's say I want to ask the user to input some string. So when I'll ask the user to input some string, and let's say I'm printing on the next line inputted string is equal to, like this I'm giving. So when I'll run this program, now it is asking input some string, and user know, okay, I have to input some string. And when he will input Python and press enter, the execution will print the inputted string equal to Python in the next line. So this is where uh, input can have zero argument and one argument. Now let's try to give more than one argument. Input some string, and let's say one more argument I'm giving. Input something else. It's not possible because input function cannot take more than one argument. So I have to remove it. Now instead of giving this string, can I give something else? Let's say if I'm giving input 23, I'm giving. And if I'm running this program, so 23 will be printed in the out. When I'm running the program, it will be printed. And whatever user input after that and click enter, it will anyways accept it. So this 23 will be printed to user, but in this current context, 23 holds no meaning, right? It does not hold any meaning. It's just like a garbage value, printed to user. So we have to be very much, cautious about the message that we want to showcase to user. We can, inside input function, we can provide any data type. Let's say if I'll provide tuple, and if I'm running this program, the tuple will be printed. So this tuple, it is considered as a message that you want to get it displayed to the user, but it holds no meaning. So if you'll, enter anything Python, or let's say anything 23, it will take it as that particular user input and then print it in the next line. So this is about the parameter, this is about the arguments that you can pass in the input function. The next thing is def program. Okay, this is very simple, right? If you are not using any input function in your program, then your program is known as def program. This also we have seen. And then next part, always return a string value. So input function always returns a string value. What does it mean? Let's say here inside input function, I am giving input some number. Inputted number is something, right? And inputted number is this, and type of number, let's say I want to print type of the inputted number. So if I run this program, input some number 20, I am printing. So inputted number 20 it is taking, but this 20, this particular value 20 that is being stored in the this variable s is of type str. So anything that you will basically take the input from user, it is always considered as a string. Now, if you want to, let's say, whatever number I am inputting here, 20, I instead of string, I want to take this as a integer value. So how will I do that? So on line number 2, I can use int. I'll do the typecasting here. And like this, if I'll do, and now if I'll run the program, now if I'm entering 20 and when I'm hitting enter, okay, it is giving error because inputted number. You can use concatenation symbol with string only. So let me use comma here. So when I'm running this program and inputting some number, now this time it has taken the number and the class of this particular variable s is int type. So this is how you can basically take the integer inputs also. Let's see if we want to, if we can typecast to any other data type. So string can be typecasted to float also. Let's see that if it happens. So now it is float. I mean, whatever input is there, it is converted into float. Can we do that? So typecasting, when I'll come to typecasting, I'll show you how do we do typecast. So again, see this typecasting is happening on this line. So the string is getting converted into the list and then the number, whatever inputted number 20 you have inputted, it has basically converted that 20 into a list. And then it is printing the class as list when we are trying to print the type of this particular inputted number. But yeah, the main intention or main idea to showcase you this is that if you want to input some number and take it as a number to do some mathematical calculation later on, so you have to typecast like this on the line number 2. So this is about user input. Okay. Okay, so this is about user input. So before we move forward, can you guys, okay, let me type in the group. Can you please open menti.com in your mobile? And when you open menti.com, please give the code as 324 3242 and 1401. Can you open it, please? So this is a small quiz that we will. Two players are ready. I'm waiting for one more player. I'll wait for another minute. So you just have to open. Okay, three players are ready now. Okay, so let's start the quiz. Okay, so what is the output of this print statement? These are your options. Free, type error, mean error. Okay, everyone has voted. Let's see who has voted it correctly. The correct answer is 3 because separator, when you use it with one argument, you can still use the separator, but with one argument, nothing will happen. No change will happen, right? Let's go to the leaderboard. Okay, so Anil has answered it correctly. Let's go to the next question. So what is the output of this print statement? Correct answer is 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see who all answered. Let's go to the leaderboard. Okay, so Raj had answered correctly. Okay, let's go to the next question. So what is the output of print? None and then asterisk 3. Okay, everyone has voted. Let's go to the leaderboard. Raj and Meghna had answered it. Okay, so Raj is leading the chart, Meghna second, and Anil third as of now. Let's go to the next question. So here it comes. So what is the output of print type of bin of 5? So this I have explained you in yesterday's class. Let's go to the leaderboard and see. Okay, I think no one had answered it correctly. Go to the next one. The correct answer was class STR. Okay, so here comes the fifth question. What is a valid Python variable name? I mean, which is a valid Python variable name? Everyone knows. Correct answer is the first one. Let's go to the leaderboard. Okay, Raj is leading, Meghna is second, Anil is third. Let's go to the last question. So here it comes. Which is incorrect. Everyone has voted. The correct answer is it cannot take two arguments, right? That's what I just told you a couple of minutes back. So let's go to the leaderboards to see who is leading finally. Okay, so and the winner is Raj with 3,201 points. Cool. I think that's a quick quiz. I wanted to share it with you guys. I think this background noise was a little bit disturbing, so I'll just make a note of it. In next quiz, I'll just remove the background noise. Cool.
We didn't hear anything.
Sorry?
We didn't hear anything.
Okay, you're not hearing anything. Okay, might be okay. I was hearing. I just kept the background noise on the quiz, and that's where I was getting a lot of disturbance due to that. Okay, cool. Okay, let's see how we have progressed with our course so far. Okay, so Python get it started, we have done that. Data types we have covered. Python variables we have covered. Naming conventions, comments we have completed. Print we have completed, and user input we have completed. So isko I can do is strike out these things. Now in Python level 1, we are left with conditional statements, loops, operators, and time conversion. Okay. So, do you want me to take a break for 10 minutes or you want me to continue? Let's take a quick break, and then we will start with conditional statements and loops. Let's see how much we can cover. Yeah. So I'm just starting a 10-minute timer, and we'll meet after 10 minutes. Thank you. Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, so we will be seeing the conditional statements in Python. So what is conditional statement? Let me create a new mind map. So topic is conditional statements. So conditional statements are basically decision making statements, right? Decision making statements. And there are basically three terms here. First term is condition. Second term is statement. Third term is block. Okay. Now the conditional statements are decision making statement that works on some condition. So condition, when I'm talking about condition, so condition can either be true or it can be false. So it evaluates the condition, and if the condition is true, then set of statements are executed. If that condition is not true, then those set of statements are not executed. So basically, condition is, in this case here, condition is something that returns true or false. Okay. And statement is something, a line of code that does something. So anything, any single line of code that you are writing can be considered as a statement, right? So a line of code that does something. And similarly, block is group of one or more statement. Group of one or more statements. So these are some of the important terms that we basically deal with in conditional when we are learning about conditional statements. Now, type of conditional statements in Python. Types. So when I'm talking about type, so there are three types of conditional statements. First one is if. Second one is if, else, simple if else. Third one is if, elif. Okay, so when we talk about if statement, so if a statement checks whether a condition is true. If the condition is true, then program executes the certain block of code. Otherwise, it does not. So how does it look? Let's see that quickly. So this, see, you guys might be aware who are doing the coding, but there are few members like Vishant is there in the group, so he's not aware about the coding. So I may take a little bit more time to explain these concepts to him. You other guys might find it a little bit boring, but bear with it because Vishant has a very little idea of coding. So I just want to explain him this concept very clearly. Okay. Now in order to write if statement, I'll use if keyword and I'll give some condition here. Let's say if I'm giving a is greater than 3 and then I use colon symbol here and then I'll write inside if block. Now few things here. Let me give value of a as 5 here. Now few things here. Now if we'll see, if we look closely, so this part, this particular part where I'm doing this a equal a greater than 3 comparison when I'm doing, this is known as condition, right? Condition, which can result in true or false, right? And uh, this particular thing is basically the if block. So anything after this colon, yeah, in line number 4, there is a column, right? So right now we have only one line, but it can have n number of lines. So anything inside the if, after if statement, whatever you are writing, it is known as if block. So let me write down more lines inside if block 1 and 2, 3 lines I'm writing. Inside if block 2, inside if block 3. 3 lines I have written down. So now in this case, this is if block, and each line inside this if block is a statement. So these are 3 different statements. Okay. Now, I just wanted to explain these, terminologies, because people are often confused and people often interchangeably use these definitions: statement, block. Okay, so this is a very simple if statement. So what will happen? It will check the condition. If it is true, then this particular block, all these 3 lines will be executed. Otherwise, it will not execute. So let me reduce these line to one line itself. And outside if statement, let me print outside if. So if I'll run this program, it will print both these print statement that I have given in my program. So it will print inside if block, outside if block. Why it is printing that? Because it is a is greater than 3, a value is 5. Yes, 5 is greater than 3. So this will evaluate as true. So if it is true, then this will be executed. And it is executing and printing here, right, inside if block. And once this if statement, complete if statement is executed, then it is printing outside if block. Now let's say if I'm giving a equal to 1. So in this case, this particular condition will not evaluate to true. It will evaluate it as false. So this line will not get executed. So when I'll run the program, output will be just outside if block. So if I'm running this program, it is printing outside if block. So this is simple if statement. Now next is if else statement. Now else statement, what I will do, I will put one else keyword and I will print like this: print inside else. Like this I'm doing it. So what is happening in this case? It will evaluate this condition: a is greater than 3, 1 is not greater than 3. So it will skip this, and if the if part is skipped, it executes the else part and then normal execution flow. So in this case, it will print inside else, outside if block. So if I'm running it, it is printing inside else, outside if block. So in this condition, either if statements are executed or else statements are executed, not both. So if a is equal to 5, then in this case, if part will be executed and this will be skipped. The output will be inside if block and outside if block and outside if block. Okay. So this is the simple if and if else statement. Now we have if elif. If elif means elif statement is basically used to include multiple conditional expressions after the if condition. For example, if a is let's say यहाँ पे I'll write down if a is greater than 3, then this is the condition. If instead of 3, let me put down as 8 or 7. If a is less than 4, print inside elif. So multiple conditions I have put down here, right? So it will check these conditions one by one. First condition, it will check if a is greater than 7. So 5 is greater than 7. No, it is false, right? So this will not execute. Now it will come to second condition. It will check, is 5 less than 4? No, 5 is not less than 4. So this will not also execute. And finally, if no condition met, it will execute the else part. So here in this case, it will print else, inside else and outside if block. So if I'm running this program, it will print else part and outside if block. See, inside else and outside if block. Now, let me give the value as 9. So 9, what happens? 9 is greater than 7. Yes, it is greater than 7. As soon as the condition is met, it will print this and it will further not go. I mean, it will further go in the conditions. But as soon as the first condition is met, it will just execute that and it will not, go into and check the other condition. So it will print inside if block and else part will not execute. And finally, it will execute outside if block. So if I'll run this program, it will print inside if block and outside if block. See, it is printing inside if block and outside if block. So yeah, the point that I was trying to explain is that, so see, in this case, it is basically fulfilling both these conditions, right? A is greater than 7, 9 is greater than 7. Yes, यहाँ पे it is true. So inside if block will be printed. Now in second elif statement, again this condition is met, right? 9 is greater than 4. This is also true. So what happens in this case? Will it print both of these lines, inside if block and inside elif block, or just the first one? So let's see it. So if I'll run this program, it will print the first one itself. Because as soon as the condition is met, it will execute this and it will come out of the, complete statements. So even if, in the second, third, fourth or subsequent conditions, the condition is meeting, it will not execute, it will not go into inside that particular block. It will just, as soon as the first condition is met, it will go inside that and do the stuff and then come out of it. So that is why only this part is getting printed. Okay, now there is an important point, very important point, which I want to bring. Important points. What are those important points? So the important point is that any string or tuple or list or set or dictionary is true except empty ones. And second condition, second important point is any number is true except 0. That means if you are giving anything, any string, any tuple, any list or any set, if it is not empty, it will be considered as true. And any number, if it is non-zero number, it is considered as true. So what is the importance of these important points in the coding? Okay, what is the important point? The important point is, let's say here I am giving Python like this. So what did I told you? Any string is considered as true unless it is non-empty, right? So this will be considered as true. यहाँ पे it will be considered as true. तो ये true है तो it will execute inside if block and then outside if block. So if I'll run this program, it is printing inside if block and outside if block, right? And any tuple also is considered as true if it is not empty. So tuple, something like this, if you'll give, again, it will print the same output. So anything which you are giving inside it, any data type set, tuple list, dictionary set, if it is non-empty, it will be considered as true and the if statement will be executed. But how about none? Let's see what happens if I'll provide none. So none is considered as false. And if I'll give empty string like this, so it will be considered as false. It is considered as false. So in this case, this will not get executed. It will get executed. How about this? I am giving this string. It looks like an empty string, but there is a space between it. So empty string is something which starts with a double quote and then suddenly ends with a double quote. There is no space in it. So if I'll run it, this is a non-empty string here in this case, right? So that is why it went inside if block and executed this print statement. Talking about number, so any number is considered as true except 0. So if I'll give any number like this, it will be considered as true, and when it is true, it will do this print. It will basically print this statement, and again the output is same. But if I'll give 0, in that case, it is not getting printed, and only outside if block will be printed. So this is about if else if and if elif statements. Okay. Now we have something known as conditional statement. May there is something known as shorthand if and if else. Next is shorthand if else, if elif. And we call it as ternary also. I mean, you can use any of these terms. You can either call it as ternary also, ternary. So this is known as shorthand if else, and if elif. Okay, so ternary operators determines if the condition is true or false and then returns the appropriate value as the result. So ternary का मतलब है you will be basically you use only one line of code and make it more concise. So Sara, whatever if else we are using, it will be done in single line using shorthand if and if else. How do we do that? Let's see that. So let's say if you want to write the equivalent of this, right? Let's say a equal to 5 I am giving, and if a is equal to 5, print inside if block. This is simple thing I want to achieve. Okay. Now using shorthand if else, using shorthand if, how will I achieve it? I will basically write it as if a equal to 5, then print inside if block. Okay, so this is a simple thing, right? So यहाँ पे we are using two lines, but यहाँ पे we are using single line. So it is like instead of inputting, if instead of entering at line number 3, you can use it in the single line. So this is the shorthand if. Now regarding the shorthand if else. So shorthand if else. So there are some examples that I've kept in the slide. Let me open that and show you. Okay, no, I haven't kept it. Okay, so the syntax of shorthand if else is something like this. You start with a true value, then you put the if keyword, then you put the condition, and then else keyword and false value. Okay, let's see it how we basically do that. Let's first simply write a simple if else statement. So if, let's say, if a is equal to 5, print inside if block, and else part I am putting print outside or inside else. This thing I want to convert it as shorthand if else. So how I will do that? So in order to convert that, first I will write the true value. So true value, what is the true value that I want to keep? So the true value is basically whatever I want to print, right? So print if block, print statement I'm writing, then keyword I'm writing, and then I'll be writing down the condition. So this is the condition I'm writing, and else. Okay, let me decode this. We have how many parts? One, this is keyword, this is second part, this is keyword, This is third part. So this is true. True का मतलब है the statement that needs to be executed or the line that needs to be executed when the if condition is true. Fine. Second part is the keyword. This is the keyword that we will write. Third part is the condition. This is the actual if condition. Condition. Then else part, what is else? This is also again a keyword. And then this is the false part. False part means when the condition is not true, then what exactly you need to execute that part. So this is as per the syntax that we have written. Let's see if it works or not. Let me comment out this. So in this case, a equal to 5 and the condition is 5. So it will basically print inside if block if I'll run it and if there is no syntax error in this. Okay, it is running it. It is printing inside if block. And this is how shorthand if else work. Now the thing is that it looks little bit confusing. So once you are well versed with normal if and if else statements, then only you try out this shorthand if and if else, because sometimes even good programmers get confused when writing out this condition in a single line. So just, I mean, whoever are the beginners in Python, please try to stick with the usual if else. And once you are comfortable with usual if else concepts, then go ahead and try the shorthand if and if else. Okay. So this is about the conditional statements. Okay, any doubts? Anyone has any doubt or anything to bring up? So conditional statement, we have done conditional statements. So if I'll go to the progress bar, so conditional statement is done, is completed. Okay. And next thing is loops. So let's start loops. Loops. Okay. Now loops basically, okay, what we'll be studying in loops, we will see that. First thing is what are loops? We will see what are loops. Then second thing is uh, for loop. We will see a very basic thing or basic loop in any programming language, for loop. And then inside for loop, we will see using for loop on sequence. So what is sequence? Sequence is string, tuple, and list. Then directly using the for loop instead of variable, and then iteration or for loop using range function. For loop using range. And then we will also see how to use for loop where we iterate by index of sequences. So iterating by index of sequence. And then there is a basically concept of enumerate also. So we will see what is enumerate. How do we use enumerate here in this for loop? So this is about for loop. Next thing we will see will be the while loop. While loop. And then we will see loop control statements. So loop control statements are break and continue. So anyone who is new to programming, so working on loops is very much important, and using break and continue statement, you have to do a lot of practice in that. Once you'll be able to do and decode the loops problem using break and continue, your concepts for the loops will be very much clear. And then usage of else in loop. So we can use else on loops also instead of just using on if condition, I mean conditional statement. So else can be used on conditional statements as well as on loops also. So we'll see the usage of else on loops. And then we will see what are nested loops. So nested loops also is there. And as we are seeing these else continue break, so let's see pass statement also. So pass is not related to loops directly, but yeah, when we are learning about these keywords, continue, break, else, so let's cover the pass statement also or pass keyword also. Okay. Now the first thing is, let's see what are loops. Let me open loops slide and let's see what are loops. So loops in programming, loops basically executes the piece of code repeatedly. So whenever repetition is there, whenever we want to perform a task, repeated task, then uh, then basically loops comes into the picture. So repetition or iteration, so these both terms are same. In programming language or in programming jargons, we use iteratively or iterations. And this repetition happens on certain condition. So what happens here is, so there is a condition. So condition can either result in true or false, right? That we have already seen. So if the condition is true, we will check for the condition. So this particular, block or the group of statements, execute again and again, again and again until the condition becomes false. So until the condition is true, these will execute. Then second iteration will happen, then third iteration. I mean, it will execute for number of times as long as the condition is true. And as soon as the condition becomes false, it will come out of this particular, iteration, or it will not execute these statements as soon as the condition becomes false. Now we have already seen, right? The condition can be true or false, right? So when condition is true, the body of the loop executes. And if condition is false, control comes out of the body of the loop. Now let's see a very basic for loop. So basic for loop, when I'm talking about basic for loop on sequence we are seeing. So see, okay, let me, uh, sorry, added this. So sequence में क्या क्या आता है? So we have string, list, tuple. And then apart from sequence, so we have set and dictionary also. So we don't call set and dictionary as sequence. So sequence, when I'm talking about sequence, so we will just refer with string, list, and tuple. And then from separately from sequence, I am mentioning set and dictionary. Let's see that. How do we use these for loops? Whether we can use on set and dictionary also. We'll see that. Okay. So let's use a simple for loop. Let's say that I have defined a equal to some name, let's say Vishant. Okay. And the syntax for using for loop is basically you will be using for keyword and then you will use one variable for I in A. For I in A, when you are using, then you are just printing I. Okay. Now what happens here is basically the syntax is that you will be using some keywords, right? So this is the first keyword. This is the second keyword that you are using, right? For and in. And here you will be giving one variable and here is the sequence. So what happens? So Vishant is there. Vishant is there. So this I will hold value one by one. So this is by default Python has provided this for loop. This is also known as for in loop in Python. So what it will do, I will hold the value as V first. then it will iterate over this string. It will hold I, then S, then H, then A, then N, and T. So this is implicitly, this particular for in loop has been implicitly implemented by Python. So when I'll run this program, it will print these individual characters one by one. See, V, I, S, H, A, N, T. So this is how we use for loop on sequence. And then this sequence can be anything, right? Instead of A equal to Vishant, which is of a string type, I can give list also. Let's say I'm giving list. So in this case, I will be holding the value one by one. First, it will be 1, then it will be 2, and then it will be 3. So when I'll run this program, the output will be 1, 2, and 3. So when I'm running this program, it is printing these values. Let's see if we can use set, and if we can run this on set. Yes, we can run that on set also. And uh, we can also run this on dictionary also. Let's see what happens if I'll try to run this on a dictionary. So dictionary may I have given the key number as A, value is 1. Then second key I am giving B, value as 2, and then C, value is 3. So when I'll run this, and instead of A, to avoid any confusion, because we have a key also here, right? So instead of that, let me call it as DICT, and let me run for I in DICT, something like this. And if I'll run this program, what will be the output? Will it print will it print key value pair again and again, or will it just print the keys, or will it just print the values? Let's see that. So when I'm running it, it is just printing the keys. So on dictionary, when I'm directly running that, so it is just printing the keys, as you can see in the output, right? So this is how the for loop basically works on sequence. This part, we have seen this part, right? Usage of for loop on sequence. Now directly using the for loop. So what do I mean by directly using the for loop? Let's see that also. So directly using the for loop का मतलब है कि if I'll just, instead of giving it to a variable, I'll just remove this from here, and instead of any variable here, I'll just give directly here. So this is the direct value that I'm providing here, and if I'm running it, it will still behave same. So यहाँ पे I can give the values as directly also. So यहाँ पे I can give Vishant directly here for I in Vishant, instead of using a variable, giving the value Vishant inside a variable, and then iterating over that particular variable, I can directly give the value here. And if I'll run this program, it will still work same, right? So this is what I mean by direct usage. So we have seen this part, right? We have seen directly using for loop. Now let's check the third part. For loop using range. So range is a function, and the default syntax, okay, not default syntax, the syntax for that is, I'll show you the syntax. Okay, so this is the syntax for the iteration when we do using range function. This is the syntax. I'll use the keyword for, then I'll use the variable I, and then in I will use, and then this is the keyword that I'll use, range keyword. And range keyword can accept 3 arguments. Okay, not argument, parameters. So first one is start, second one is end, and then third one is increment size. So start is an optional, end is mandatory, and incremental size is also optional. So when I'm not providing anything in the start, it will print 0. I mean, it will take 0 as the default value. End is anyhow mandatory, so that we have to explicitly provide. Increment size is also optional, so if I don't provide it, it will by default take 1. So how does it work? Let's see that. So let's say that if I'm using for I in range I'm starting with the 0, comma 10, comma 1, print I am doing. Okay, what does it mean? How does it work? So here, this is the starting number. This is the end number and this is the increment size. So what will happen in this case? It will do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What it means is that you have to start the loop from the number 0. You have to go till the end number. So end number will not be considered. One number less than end number. So 10 will not be considered here. Just a number less than 10, which is 9. So you have to start your iteration from number 0. You have to go till 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And increment size is 1. So that means after 0, the next number will be 1. After 1, the next number will be plus 1 because the increment size is 1. So after every number, the increment size is 1. So when I'll run this program, it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I'm running this program, see from 0, it is printing till 9. So this is a very, I would say, common usage of range function. Let's say if step size I am giving 2. Now what will happen? It will start printing from 0. यहाँ से print start करेगा. And then increment size is 2. So instead of 1, it will not consider 1. It will do 0 plus 2. So next number will be 2. 2 plus 2, it will be 4. Then 6, then 8. So it will print 0 to 4, 0 to 4, 6, 8. So if I'll run this program, it will print 0 to 4, 6, 8 because increment size is 2. So that's how you play with the increment size and start and end number also. So let's say in this case I am giving start number as 1. Now what will happen? If I'll run this program, it will start from 1. It will increment by 2 because the increment size is 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then next number is 5, 7 and 9. That's how it basically works. Now I told you that this particular part and this particular part, both of these things are optional, right? These are optional. It means that I can choose to omit these, but at least one parameter, parameter is required in this. So it is just that we have, just one argument here. So how it will basically decode it? So when we provide just the end argument or end parameter, so start it will take by default as, यहाँ पे start it will by default take as 0. End यहाँ पे already मैंने mention किया है, end is already mentioned which is 10 in this case, and then increment size it will take by default as 1. So whatever you can see on screen, it is same as if I'll write it down as for I in range 0, comma 10, comma 1. That means this particular part is same to this particular part. So when I'll run, it will again print from 0 to 9, number 9. So if I'll run this, it is printing 0 to 9. So this is about a range statement. Again, so you can have two values also. So right now I have one argument. Let's say if I'll give two arguments, let's say 1, comma 8 I am giving. So when I have two arguments, I have to fill the values, right? Start and increment size, right? So when I'm giving two uh, parameters here, which two parameters are those? Is it start and end, or is it end or increment size, or is it start or increment size? So just remember that whenever you provide two arguments, it will be always the start and end combination. So I'm just providing two arguments here. So it is start and end combination, and the increment size in this case will be default value, which is 1. So it will be same as for I in range 1, comma 8, comma 1, something like this. So when I'll run this program, it will print from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till 7 it will print when I'll run this program. It is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So this is uh, about using range function. Let's go to our mind map. So, okay, so this we have done, this we have done, this we have done, this though what are loops we have already done. Now, next thing is iterating by index of sequence. What does it mean? Iterating by index of sequence. So iterating by index of sequence, what do we mean by that? So we mean that in this case, let's say ये वाला जो case था विशांत, when I was running this program, it was printing everything fine, right? VISHANT. Now, instead of the respective characters or respective string character that we are extracting out of this particular string, I want to print the index also, right? Index along with the number. So how do I do that? So there are two ways of doing it. So the first way is basically the one that I have just mentioned on this mind map, this one. And the second way is basically this one. Okay. How do we do that? Let's see now. So let's store Vishant in a variable A, Vishant. And now what I will do is that I will basically use len function. यहाँ पे I will use len function. So for I in range, I will use range, and inside range, I will use len of A. Now what will happen? It will basically convert into for I in range 7. So Vishan contains 7 characters. So the length of this variable A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be for I in range 7. So I get the hold of the total length of that particular sequence on which I am using the for loop. Now I can print the index as well as character also. Both I can use in the print statement. So how do I use that? I'll use print I comma, let me put one space and then comma A of I. So index, what it will basically do in this case. So here it is Vishant, right? So Vishant, I will basically hold 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and still 6. It will hold the value. So the value of I will be from 0 to 6. So from I'll be able to print the index. First part, index I'll be able to do. I'll be able to print the index. Now, in order to print any character on that particular index, how I will do that? So I'll use A and then that particular index I can give. So that way I'll be able to catch a hold of both index as well as the character. So when I'll run this program, see it is printing index as well as character. Okay, so this is how we can iterate by index of sequence. Okay, so where we are accessing index plus element both. Now there is another way where we use enumerate, right? So let's see how do we use enumerate. So here I'll use for, let's say, index comma item in enumerate A. I'm doing, and then I'm printing index comma item. So when I'm running this, it will again print the same things. So enumerate is a function where you can basically iterate index as well as the item on that particular sequence type all together at once. So that's what I have told you, right? If you want to access both index plus item. So these are the two ways in which you can do that. The first way was the iterating by index of sequence, and the second way is to use enumerate function. Okay, so this is about for loop. Okay, now, okay, one more thing. So in enumerate, we can have one more parameter also here. So a comma, if let's say I'm giving 23 here, what will happen in this case when I'll run the program? So the start index, the index start index tied to the first character will start from 23, not 0. So by default, it is 0 if you don't give anything, but you can control that also. The starting index, whatever you want to start with, you can, do that also. So -3, if I'll give, let's see if it works. It will work. So that's how the enumerate function works. I mean, you can control the starting index by giving it as a second parameter in this enumerate function. Okay, cool. So let's go to the progress chart. So loops may there. Okay, 1 second. First is for loop, second is while loop, third is break, continue, and what else was there? Loop. Okay, else in the loop, right? Else in the loop, nested loop, and pass keyword. Okay. So we have completed for loop. So let me strike this out. And rest other thing we will see in the next lecture next weekend. While loop, break, continue, else, nested loop, pass. And probably by, I would say by next weekend, we will finish off Python level 1 and we'll start with Python level 2. Any doubts or anything that anyone wants to bring up? Vishant, I think you need to see these videos again and again because I know you are a beginner in programming. Uh, I'll share these recorded videos, and even I have some recorded detailed videos on my YouTube channel that I have recorded 2 years back. You can watch those videos again and again and practice on your own. The most important thing is basically doing the practice. You have to do a lot of practice with your own hands, then only you'll be able to grasp the concept. So yeah, anyone wants to bring up anything or any suggestions, any feedback, any points that they want to add up?
Can you share all these tricky questions that you're putting in the Mentimeter and stuff?
Yeah, Mentimeter में, yeah, don't worry. Next class I'll be putting when the Menti quiz, whatever is there, na, there are some tricky questions in that.
Okay.
So yeah, so for loops there will be some tricky. So Menti में I am just putting some tricky questions. Cool. I think that's pretty much it then. Uh, cool guys. Thank you for dialing in. Have a nice weekend ahead and happy Monday for tomorrow. Thank you.